All right, so welcome back. Welcome back. So this segment, we jump into our viewers' thoughts, into our call-in segment. And we really want to hear from you this morning on these topics that we have. We have about half hour to discuss these topics, Jamie.
Yeah.
And so let's jump right into the first conversation, or the first topic. And that is about the La Ruta Maya route, right? We're going to
Yes.
go down the list. Is changing the La Ruta Maya route a money grab, right? And so this is a conversation we've been
We had
having.
yesterday.
We had it yesterday. We've been
It's
having
on
it
the
on
news,
Wednesday.
yeah.
It's been on the news. But what we really want this morning is we want our viewers to call in.
Yeah, talk to
right?
us.
Talk to us.
Yeah.
Let us know what your thoughts are. Are you indifferent to the idea of the finish line changing from Belize City to Grand Resort or by the Halova Creek Bridge? Or is it something that you're completely against to say, no, by tradition, the tradition, and we must stick with tradition?
Yeah.
And so if you have any thoughts, you could call us at 280-0016. Or maybe you're thinking this is something that should have gone through a consultative process where the association and the paddlers should have been consulted and their input should have been as a part of the conversation. Perhaps you're thinking that this comes as a disadvantage to the paddlers. One of the things we highlighted yesterday, and we got some really beautiful footage from the Grand Resort Halova Creek area, but one of the things we considered yesterday and we discussed in the news had to do with the possible safety concerns tied in with that area, right? Where the Caribbean Sea meets the Belize River, and how sometimes, depending on the weather, the currents are strong. And there's also undercurrents, which is natural for this type of areas, right? Where we call it the bank mouth, the river mouth, where the river meets the river meets the sea. Because of that, just the estuary, because of the natural makeup of estuaries, you oftentimes have some rough currents, some undercurrents, and the concern that we flagged yesterday had to do with the children that participates in the La Ruta Maya, the elderly folks that participate, and the families that participate that aren't that are more like they're doing it for leisure, right?
To be part of it.
Just to participate.
Yeah.
What happens, and we're asking questions, what happens if they have a spill, if they topple over, if their canoe capsize in that area? Is it really safe as the still waters here in Belize City, which can be choppy at times, right? But it is farther from that sort of geographical makeup where the river meets the sea. And so when we reached out to Coast Guard yesterday, because they are the ones that provides the safety boats in these cases, they said that they only learned about discussions pertaining to the change through the news, right? And so they are yet to essentially meet with the organizers to get a clearer understanding of what is being asked of them, right? They set out the plan, the Coast Guard, but of course they first need to understand what is being done. So the Coast Guard doesn't necessarily have a perspective on it as yet, but because they still have to establish a plan once they understand what is being set out for them. But I gather that the pushback from this isn't necessarily about, well, the primary concern, because all concerns are valid, and if I tear them, the primary one is about maintaining tradition. I didn't realize that Belizeans were so big on tradition, so big on keeping things the way they have been traditionally, and that is what I'm hearing people saying. Traditionally, it has always ended in Belize City, and we want that tradition to remain alive.
Yeah, that's a very Belizean thing, you know. this is how it's done and this is how we should always do it, which might be controversial to say, you know, that sometimes change is necessary. But I think for this specific case, there's a clear breakdown in communication.
Correct.
There's a clear breakdown in who's making the decisions, who it is impacting, and then everybody else. And so I think what was really missing from the wider picture, the wider equation, was just the importance of communication and clear communication. I found it really shocking to hear you say that the Coast Guard found out through the news.
Right. That these discussions are taking place.
That's wild to me. Yeah, that's wild to me, because, you know, safety is a huge concern in any kind of event, especially one like this, where there are very real and very valid factors around what could be, you know, life and death, you know. So that's very interesting to hear and very disappointing to hear. I think all roads point to us not having a change in this moment.
Yeah, I think so too.
Even though I'm very anti don't change.
Me too. Yeah.
Because I think progress and evolution, that's a natural part of life. Tradition can look different, you know, as we evolve and as we grow as a society. It doesn't mean that we get rid of La Ruta Maya. If it looks a little different, that's okay. But what's not okay is just that immediate, no consultation, we figure it out, we just do it, and, you know, there's no process. That's a bit disorganized and a little disappointing.
Yeah, so we have a caller calling in. Caller, good morning. Thank you for calling.
Hi.
Morning.
Good morning.
You could go ahead and share your thoughts.
Yes, I think it would remain as civic, because clearly it's a money grabbing thing, because we have to pay now to go into the Grand Resort.
Yeah.
That's number one. Number two is taking bread from out of poor people's mouth, because a lot of poor people go and sell their products out there, their food and things, and that will not happen now. It's just like how poor people just use the little raffle to raise funds. Everything they are taking away from the poor people. They behave just like the government. The people used to have a little raffle, now the government bring pressure that you get tax on it, and you have to. It just continues to suffer and depress the poor people in this country. We are really going backwards. Instead of trying to lift the poor people, it's to keep us down. You know, so it's a very bad idea. I think the paddlers should boycott it and say, you know what, we will not race if they go to change the finish line. Thank you.
Well, caller, quick question. Quick question for you. You still there?
Yes, yes.
What would you say to people that might tell you, well, you just opposed to change and you're not really open to change in any kind of way?
No, I am a person that changed. The world is changing, but there is something you cannot continue to suppress the poor people in the country.
Yeah.
You know, this is something people just to have a family day out. I'm going to let my children go and enjoy something. You know, this is not something that it's not everything. It's about money.
Yeah.
You know. The government always tries to say, oh, we're trying to do things for the community and things. But this is no on earth.
Yeah.
You are doing something good when something like this happens.
For
You know?
Yeah.
You try to have a family day like that, to take your children out to see the race and enjoy it with your family. Now, most people walk out there to go and see the finish. Nobody got money to catch taxi to go way up to Grand Resort.
That's
you
a
know?
consideration.
So it's become like you're separating the poor people more. You are dividing us more.
Yeah.
You know?
All right.
It's very, very bad.
All right, caller. Thanks so much for your input.
Thank you.
That's another important point to bring up there,
Right.
Jamie, the spectators.
Yeah,
right?
and that's what I mentioned earlier. It's the organizers, the participants, and then everybody else.
Everybody else. Yeah.
The people that will go watch La Ruta
The
Maya.
vendors.
The vendors, the people who support this event, you know.
Yeah.
It's not a race if nobody know they watch. I mean, it's just some people to try to get somewhere really quickly.
Yeah.
And so I really appreciate that perspective, because it shows that it belongs to us. And so even Belizeans could be part of the consultations around how do we make change, and if we do make change, how can it benefit everybody?
Yeah, because what's becoming more and more clear is that a decision like this doesn't only move the organizing committee to Grand Resort or to the bridge. It moves a large group of people. And so as leaders, how do you get a large group of people with different views and perspectives to move with you? I don't think you just say, make we move, and everybody say, yes, let's move. But I don't think that's how change works. We have another caller. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Yes, go ahead, share your thoughts.
Okay. Picture this.
Picture.
It's a bridge road.
If you have your TV on, caller, sorry to interrupt. If you have your TV on, can you please turn it down? Because maybe we're getting some feedback, I think.
Yeah. Hello?
Yes, go ahead. Speak in your phone and turn on your TV, right? Yes, go ahead.
I'm saying that, wait, no, sorry about.
Yeah, go ahead.
The dog also have thoughts.
Yeah,
the dog has thoughts.
The dog is very upset, clearly.
Yeah.
Go ahead, caller.
I think he said, yeah, call me back.
Oh, he's saying I'll call me back?
Yeah.
All right, probably gonna tell doggy.
Yeah.
I want to speak
Just
to Huawei.
Yeah. Just me
right.
today.
so yes, I have to also mention that the two things aren't confirmed, right?
Okay.
Just to be clear.
Okay.
The
Number one.
route change, it's not confirmed.
Right.
Right? And I gather that public pressure will ensure that the finishing line remains at Civic 1.
I hope so.
Well, at the end of the day, the race, they can do what they want, right? The committee can make a decision, and ultimately we'll just have to live with it, in essence, right?
Or they can boycott.
Or they can boycott.
They can
but what I'm hearing from paddlers is that sponsors have already invested a lot in them to train, to ensure that they have all the necessary resources for this race. And so they can't boycott last minute, right? Because then all that sponsorship just goes down the drain. They have a commitment to full.
They can't. They choose not to.
Well,
let me be a little controversial here.
How? Yeah.
So we're talking about change, right?
Yeah.
And change can only happen if everybody agrees. Okay, fine. Or change can happen by force. Now, if change is happening by force, and it's against the best interest of the Belizean public, then as a sponsor, you're seeing this as your public service, your duty to overlook the fact that you've invested all this money. Because if you're a sponsor, you have the money, unless that's broke people energy to say like, I give you all this money and da-da-da-da. Well, you have the money. So this issue is bigger than the money. The issue is bigger than the money, and because of that, in this moment, as Belizeans, we are making a stance. It doesn't mean that your investment goes to waste. It means that your investment maybe is shifted to another date, or it's shifted to a bigger cause, which is we're advocating for for something Belizean. We're advocating for inclusive change.
I like it.
That could be an option too.
Yeah.
But Belizeans, I find
passive. We're passive.
I was gonna say passive because that's a pretty loaded word. I find we're very go with the flow. Extremely go with the flow, and we don't want to ruffle no feathers. And they don't put a lot of money into it, and so we have to do it. That's like, and not to liken it to men and women, but that's like you going on a date, right? And because a guy buys you a $17 meal, what, you're supposed to go home with him? No.
Start $17, not close to $20.
Calm down.
Come on.
Calm down. It's the same kind of energy, Investment is more than just the money.
Yeah.
It's investment in the people and the event itself.
I hear you, and that's a valid point. And the second thing I wanted to highlight is that there's also isn't any confirmation on whether or not, if the change is made, a fee will be charged, right? So that hasn't been confirmed, but the speculation is that that will be the case because there's tighter security there, and it presents an opportunity. This is what people are saying. It presents an opportunity for them to charge a fee to enter the compound to watch the finish line, finish off the race. That's what we see in Baraboom, for example. If you ever go to Baraboom to watch the finish for La Ruta Maya, on the property, you have to pay a fee. It's somewhere like $10 per
Yikes.
person. I think it's like $5 for kids. Maybe it's a bit more, but you have to pay a fee. And one of the paddlers is saying, imagine my kids want to come and watch me compete. And I'm one of the top competitors. My family wants to come and watch. And each and every single one of them has to pay a fee to come and see me perform. They're saying it's as if the investment I'm making, the energy, the sponsorship that we're making is it is as if that is not enough, and so we have to charge a fee. And so those are the two things. Nothing is confirmed where fee is concerned and where the change is actually concerned.
But I'm in two minds about the fee, because for any other sporting event, it's very normal to buy a ticket to see that sporting event, right? That's a normal standard practice. I also understand that with La Ruta Maya, it's a little different, because, you know, it's an entire course and it's over the course of a couple days, and there's no real official venue for it. So there's this long-standing, okay, you just go watch La Ruta Maya for free. I get that part. But I think that if there is, you know, the possibility that there could be a fee, I think it should be minimal, but I don't think that that's such a wild idea for us to have a fee to watch a sporting event.
All right, we have a caller. Caller, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Yes, go ahead.
All right. I called earlier, but my phone disconnected.
Yes.
I'm at Robert, I'm 45 now. From I 12 years old, I go and watch the race at Belize. We want changes. People want changes in life, but some people doesn't want change. They want to stop the same old ways for 30 years over and over and over. Hey, if Belican Bridge was rebuilding over, where will you have it? Say they decide next day they'll have the Belican Bridge, the 16th up doing a new way now. Where will we have the night?
You have to change.
That's valid.
Always want to see the same old thing. Everybody wants change. I'm not saying that's a job. But people just want to stay in their own way and stay there still. Like the children of Israel want to eat garlic and leaves over and over and over until God tells them, you know, to them from Egypt. That's it.
So, caller, quick, I gather, based on your thoughts, that you're open to the idea of moving the finish line.
Okay.
Yeah.
We want change. Believe that we want change, but people just want to take the same old way.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate your thought. You
appreciate
really
that
add some value and diversity into the conversation. Thank you so much.
Definitely. Yeah, and I feel like I lean towards that. Like I said, change is not a bad thing. I think it's the how in this situation, the how they're doing the change. It feels so last minute for something that is such a major annual event in our country. People fly in, you know, in the diaspora, that's the word. They come home, you know, for Easter to come see La Ruta Maya, you know, Belizeans go watch it. So I think it's kind of disrespectful. It's not kind of, it is disrespectful to think that you could just come in and make a change like that 2 weeks ahead of the actual race. I think I definitely think Belizeans aren't, you know, opposed to the change. I think it's the way that it's being done.
All right, we have another call. Good morning, caller.
Yeah, good morning.
Yes, go ahead, share your thoughts.
I'm listening to the show this morning and everything, no? And in everything we do, whatever you want to do, you want to make it better and things.
Right.
Change must come.
Yeah.
But what I don't like with the organizer is that if they knew they were going to make a change this year, they should have informed the paddlers and everybody from last year, from when La Ruta Maya finished, that we're going to do this. You don't make changes last minute.
Exactly.
Like a month or so before the Ruta Maya race starts. Because that's going to impact, it's going to affect everyone.
Right.
So that's just my 2 cents.
Caller, are you somebody that avidly goes out and you follow the race, or I don't know where you're located?
I normally will watch the race at Brewer Boom, and I'll normally watch it at the start
at the start in San Ignacio.
Okay, so I gather you have no issues with like paying a fee in Barrel Boom to enter the compound.
I don't have an issue with that, but like I said,
Yeah.
you need to let the pilots know, the competitors know, the people who are the people who are investing in this race.
Yeah.
What we are really doing. You don't do things last minute. I don't believe in that.
All right.
But change is important. Change will have to come.
Right.
Because remember, the Belkan Bridge that will be up for renovation and things.
100%. And then we'll have to change.
And then you have to find another location and things. But like I said, they should have organized this and let everybody know ahead of time from when the last race finished last year that what their intentions are.
Yeah.
All right, caller. Well, thank you so much for that input.
Thank you. I said the same thing yesterday.
You know, out of the 3 calls we've had so far, there are
three different
kind
of
views,
perspectives, yeah.
But there's 2 that's leaning more towards change, right?
Yeah.
Which shows to me that you have people out there that are open to the idea. They're open to the thought, and that caller just now kind of created a balance to say it's not that I'm opposed to change, it's just how the change is being done, and that's something that you've been saying since the start of this conversation.
Exactly. I think we're rational people. It's always unfortunate when like the government or when the public sector or the private sector treats Belizeans like we're stupid.
Correct.
Yeah, like we don't know, understand these things, and it's like I said, it feels very disrespectful. It feels like they're undermining us.
We have another caller. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, no worries.
Good morning, caller.
Hi, good morning.
Yes, go ahead and share your thoughts.
About possible change of La Ruta.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
I think that change is necessary this time. How they were which has to be reconstructed. But why can't they use Mouse Bridge? Why they can't use a location? And I know I said before, you have to charge a fee at different locations. Why can't those be standardized? And why can't a portion of money for the fee be used to clean up the river? So those are my thoughts to share.
All right, caller. Thank you so much.
So what she was saying is why
she talked. What I heard clearly was the fees, standardize the fees across the board.
Yes.
Right. And what I also heard was to use some of that money to clean up the river. I know that La Ruta Maya is big on conservation and riverside cleanliness, if you would, right? I don't know how much they invest or like if there is an active program during the La Ruta Maya where they pay either citizens to help to clean up the riverside or if it's just more of an awareness campaign that is invested into during the La Ruta Maya so that when you watch the race, you could also have commercials and banners that speaks to keeping the rivers clean and ensuring that conservation is a priority.
Yeah, so that adds to the other part of that adds another layer to the conversation where the change can happen, but there are options for us to explore that change at all levels. So including if we are going to change the fees, then how can we use the new fees, or how can we standardize? That's another part of the conversation, which goes back to our point that we've been talking about. You know, we're a rational people, and so if you involve us in these consultations, there's so many good ideas that can come from this change, and so are really good outputs. But we have to be at the table,
because an idea like that takes the focus off the committee and off the organizers and places it back on where it truly belongs. The people, the river, the communities along the river, to say that and to be clear about it, right? Even if it is ongoing right now, to be clear about it in the proposal for change that we are going to take some of these funds. We are going to invest it back into the river. Be clear about that. Make your messaging pronounced where that is concerned. One caller talked about the Belkan Bridge and the fact that will undergo renovations.
Very soon.
It's not a if or a but or a maybe. That will undergo renovations.
They have a sign and everything.
Yes, and that will cause, one would imagine, unless the ministry can find a way to create some sort of space, but that will cause some disruption to water traffic in that area, right? And so I believe it is going to take a few years to be completed. What happens to the La Ruta Maya race at that point?
Yeah.
The change will be necessary. So perhaps it's the committee getting ahead of it to say, all right, let's introduce this change one time. But I appreciate the caller that said, do it at the end of the race, at the start of planning for the next year.
Right.
But you know, in Belize, we're a last minute with everything. We're a last minute planners.
Trust me, I know.
We're a last minute preparers. So we were jumping a month before the event and we are start plan. But then for a lot of people that's already have things in motion, that is last minute. I don't say committed to that, but I just say we're known for last minute and that sort of planning.
Well, we call a spade, and it is last minute.
Yeah.
And maybe it even opens up the conversation to say who should be on the committee. Should, you know, you mentioned that the Paddlers Association, there's no representative on the committee. That's a space for us to say, well, let's include somebody. Let's include a civilian. Let's include somebody from private sector, you know, so that all of these things, all of these considerations can be a part of the discussion so that it doesn't feel like a last minute, rushed, hasty, unreasonable decision and change.
All right, so that's our conversation on La Ruta Maya. We're going to spend a few more minutes talking about another topic.
Sure.
I'm sure, but I'm letting you all know if you want to call in still and share your thoughts on the La Ruta Maya topic. You can feel free to do so. The number again is 280-0016. Let's spend a brief moment, Jamie, on housing rental prices.
Okay.
Right? And whether or not there should be stiffer regulations, whether or not there should be more active enforcement, given that some regulations are already in place. And just overall, are prices too high for rent? This conversation was
end of conversation.
This conversation was birthed out of a discussion in San Pedro.
Yeah.
But I now see it taking place in circles across the country.
Yeah.
Right? So, in a conversation, rent too high.
Yes.
Especially in a Belize city.
Especially in San Pedro.
Well, San Pedro,
worse.
Out of the picture. I've seen in cases in San Pedro where you're basically paying for a little knock-up shack, somewhere close to $300 a week, right? $369, $1,200 a month, right? And one bedroom, one bathroom, kind of a studio, but it's not even that elaborate, and you're paying high prices for it. Why? Because it is in high demand. Why? Because the tourism industry is booming on the island, and people migrate from across the country to go and live on the island, whether it's for construction, whether it's to work at a hotel, whether it's to become a tour guide. They do it, and so because the demand is so high, people are in essence taking advantage of individuals that really need housing so that they don't have to travel every single day from the island back to the mainland. And so what we saw the UDP caretaker for San Pedro, Senator Gabriel Zatina, say is that there needs to be legislation and increased enforcement today, pronto. But what we're also hearing, we're hearing from landlords. And landlords are saying, well,
we made an investment.
We made an investment, and how can you tell us that you're going to regulate rent, that you're going to put a cap on how much we can charge rent, and you have to consider how much we've invested and how much we need to make back. So the conversation is that, all right, let's take the caller and then I'll finish my thought. Caller, good morning.
Morning.
Yes, go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah, coming on to the road business, right?
Yeah, tell me.
I just want to tip you off as to where the catching rate now.
Yes, tip me off.
We were living at a house here in New York, say like what, going to 2 years. On one Wednesday night, the owner from America called us. I tell you here what, I want to look for a house because they had to block down the house. Well, this is our late notice. But nevertheless, I got borrow money from credit here and I end up to find a whole house on rent. And when you visit the house, we come out and we rent this house under desperation, but with the fact in mind that I informed the landlady that she do some repair because
We lost him.
Yeah, okay. We lost the caller. Yeah. All right. So rent high and the cost of credit high too. Just so
Yeah,
you know.
but there are a couple of issues that came out of what the caller shared, though.
Let me
That
hear.
it goes back to that last minute decision making that we were talking about earlier. If you are a landlord, first of all, there are laws around the relationship that between a landlord and a tenant. So I think a big part of the conversation is understanding your rights as a tenant, and understanding your rights as a landlord. And so if you are a landlord and you're renting, I think on top of what is within the scope of the law, it's also really important to be ethical around how you engage with people you rent to.
Caller, we have another caller.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. Go ahead, caller.
Yeah.
Okay, I'd like to elaborate a little bit on this rental business in San Pedro. No?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was listening to Senator Cetina yesterday, no? When he started about imposing a legislation for rental fees.
Right.
First of all, you should think about imposing a legislation for real estaters, because these real estate people, they're making a huge profit
Making a
as
killing.
just selling these property, and it's not fair. Now, when it comes to rentals now, I live in San Pedro. I do rent. I have some places that I do rent. I pay the water bill, I pay the light bill for these clients, for the people who are renting from me. Sometimes my water bill is really high. I mean, San Pedro, we're paying the highest water bill in this country.
Wow.
And coming next month, the water bill is going up much higher.
Yeah, 13%.
And sometimes these people who rent from you, if a sewage is leaking or their faucet in their sink is leaking, they won't tell you anything. You will have to find that out on your own. When you get your water bill and you see, oh, your water bill is really high now, I know something is wrong in the room. So then we'll go and inspect it, and then we'll find out, okay, you had a faulty faucet and thing, and what was dripping and it's dripping all month. Your bill really goes extremely high. And it's not that the rent is high here on the island, because these people, they make good money. What they do, they go party all the time. Instead of they take a little money.
So you
save
say
it and
their
think.
priorities are not in the right place.
Exactly. And I don't think it's fair for the landlord for them to have a regulation on fee, because the fee is reasonable here on the island.
What's
You get a room,
Go ahead.
a regular room, you have your own private bath and everything. You're paying like $100 a week.
Okay.
All right? So that's just my 2 cents.
All right, caller. Thank you so much for your time. All right, so that's a landlord from San Pedro, right? Talking about why he doesn't think there's a need for these sort of rent regulations. He spoke about real estate. I found out this week through the grapevines that we actually have real estate legislation in the works. No, like comprehensive real estate legislations in the works that will guide and govern the real estate industry. Whereas right now, for example, anybody could become a real estate agent as one thing, right?
Yeah.
And this is a conversation we've had time and time again on the couch. And so you just have to, but you know, there's different real estate companies that have their own procedures and protocols and standards that you have to abide by. But outside of that, there isn't really any comprehensive legislation. So I understand that legislation is in the works, and that this year there should be robust consultation and debates in the House of Representatives surrounding real estate legislation and surrounding more governance and oversight where the real estate industry is concerned. When it comes to rent, I know there are examples where countries have limit the percentage by which a landlord can increase their rent annually. And in most cases, the average is 2%, right? And then I also know that in some countries, there's legislation where countries establish legal requirements for landlords to ensure that the buildings they're renting, that it's safe, or the houses is well maintained, right? And that the landlords cover plumbing, that the landlords cover structural integrity and stuff like that. But of course, that comes at a cost.
Yeah, but this is definitely a valid conversation. I definitely think we need regulations around everything, because regulations don't just exist to exist sake. They exist so that persons' rights are protected, so that it aligns with national economic standards and even global economic standards. What's reasonable in a country where the cost of living is so low in Belize? There's a disparity between how much you pay for rent and how much you pay to be able to live. It shouldn't be that way. So I think the regulations are important, and I hope that our government is listening. I hope the private sector is listening, and that there's really productive outputs that come from this discussion.
Excellent. All right, so with that, we've been able to go through two topics this morning, and I think there were two excellent conversations.
Yes, for sure.
We want to thank those who called in this morning, and I think your voices really added some value and some really incredible perspectives to these conversations. We're going to wrap up this now, this call-in segment, because we have 2 more segments to jump into.
Yes.
Jamie, do you know how to crochet?
I do know how to crochet.
You do?
I do.
All
Not
right.
well, but I do.
Well, we're going to watch you take the lead in the next segment. When we come back, we have Hooked on Handmade. Leah turns crochet into a brand. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.